Going MGTOW isn't what most people do. I heard Jerry Lou talking with old John the other day, and they were trying to figure out how many MGTOW men are out there. I would guess that between 1 and 3 men who are MGTOW know what the term means. There are a lot more men than that who don't know the word, acronym, or whatever you want to call it. These men probably number in the tens of millions. But this is a very small number in a world with 7 billion people and soon to be 7.5 billion people because of how we reproduce now. This will always happen, if not in the Western world, then in the Eastern world and other places. Compared to the whole world, this number of men is so small that it's hardly even worth mentioning, if at all. I bring this up because it's clear that MGTOW is different because of this. There are men in MGTOW who are married, divorced, getting divorced, who have kids and are divorced, who want to be celibate, and who are having sex. It is true for everyone. But according to my understanding of MGTOW and the way I'm following, I'm not looking for marriage at all. I'm not going in that direction. Every time I was in a relationship, even though it felt good then, I always felt uneasy, like I shouldn't be doing this. As if I shouldn't be doing it or wasn't where I should be. I should say off because it was. Something inside of me told me I wasn't on the right path to get where I needed to be in life. I felt at peace whenever I wasn't in a relationship with someone and was free to be myself. Whether or not this is because I was able to get a better handle on my emotions or because I was able to spend more time on things that made me happy, I think that some of us are hardwired to be single, as Paul says in 1 Corinthians 7. Some people will also become eunuchs, either on purpose or by accident. Even though I'm not married, I think that, as Paul says in 1 Corinthians 7, some of us are meant to be single. When we stray from this coding, we are pulled back to the core, which is like the center of the earth because it is a place we don't belong. That's exactly what happened to me, and because I drifted away from what was normal, I soon got lost. Before I go any further, let me quickly look at what I'm talking about. About getting married. 7. It is good for a man not to have sexual relations with a woman. 2. But since sexual immorality is happening, each man should have sexual relations with his wife and each woman with her husband. 3. The husband should take care of his wife, and the wife should do the same for her husband. 4. The wife has no control over her own body. Instead, she gives it to her husband. In the same way, the husband does not control his own body, instead, he gives it to his wife. 5. Don't take things away from each other unless you both agree and only for a short time so you can pray. Then get back together so that Satan won't be able to tempt you because you can't control yourself. 6. When I say this, I'm not giving you an order. 7. I wish you were all like me. But God has given each of you a different gift. One of you has this gift, and another has that gift. This is one of the most MGTOW parts of the Bible, and it's one of the reasons I'm MGTOW today. I think Paul was one of the first and most outspoken examples of what it means to be MGTOW, and you can see that right here. I say this as an agreement, not as an order. Paul says that his wish that all men were single is a concession, meaning that he knows what's in a man's heart. Paul, who lived 2,000 years ago, knows just as well as we do now that for every red pillar who is disciplined and doesn't fall for every look from a woman and goes his way instead of white knighting himself out on a whim every weekend, there are 9 more white knights out there. This shows that people's hearts don't change. The biological need to reproduce means that a man's heart is drawn to marriage and the company of women. But now, things are changing, and there may be more red pillars today because more men are realizing that there is less pressure to get married and have children as the world's population grows. Taking all of this into account, Paul goes out and says the hard, red pill truth, which is that he wishes all men were free like he was. But he says that he can accept being a single man because God has given him the ability to do so. He warns us that he is free from the responsibilities of marriage and the worries of the world. The truth about the red pill is hard to take at first, but those who have this gift will be able to handle it better. I think that many of us who are here right now, watching this video, or will watch it in the future or move on to another one, have this same understanding, desire, and ability to be single. Some of us have been forced to be single and take the red pill because of outside forces that got in the way of our lives and forced us down this path. There must be some of it. But as I was talking on the phone the other day, I heard a story about a man who was disciplined enough to turn down a woman's advances out of practicality and a deeper understanding of freedom than a man usually has. There are some stories like this. And we are the few, and the few have always been the few. Don't write it off. I mostly bring up this passage today because it's been on my mind, and I felt like I needed to say something because some men will probably give up on the idea that taking the red pill is worth their time. Some males presumably perceive it solely as a burden. But if it's what you were meant to do, if it's a truth you were taught, and if it's easier to stay single than to look for a relationship, It should be easier. The yoke should be easier to carry because it should be lighter. Just remember these facts and understandings, men. Don't drift from them, and know that MGTOW falls on the ears of some men easier than others, even those that have never been through any trauma, any divorce with their parents. Sometimes, it just lands on ears that are looking to hear. Paul said it first, and he has a lot more to say about men who don't have to worry about the troubles of this world. And man, this world surely does suck sometimes. So maybe we should heed these words, if only at least slightly.